For more than 2 decades, public television viewers have had the chance to explore Europe with an outstanding guide and teacher, Rick Steves. His popular television and radio programs, guidebooks, newsletters, newspaper columns, blogs, and social media posts have opened up Europe to travel and increased understanding of diverse cultures and people. Steves' enthusiastic backdoor travel approach encourages travelers to experience the places they visit on a journey of discovery. I'm Dick Pryor. Come along as Rick Steves discusses his programs and what he's learned during his unique media career in Rick Steves on the Record. You started out as a piano teacher and became a travel teacher. What attracted you to travel as a career?
Oh, wow, that goes way back. When I was a kid, my dad used to import pianos from Germany, so he dragged me over there to see the piano factories and relatives in Norway, and I got over there and I remember thinking, I don't want to do this. This is a horrible idea. I want to stay home. It's my summer. And I got over there and things were different, and different candy, different pop, different people, different tempo. I distinctly remember statuesque women in Germany with hairy armpits. I just thought, this is a fascinating world. And I would never have known that world if I just stayed home, but just by chance, my dad had the excuse to take me to Europe. And I used to be a piano teacher, and my kids wouldn't practice in the summer, so I thought, I'm not going to fight this. I'm going to Europe every summer, because I found it interesting. And then slowly I realized, man, I'm learning from my mistakes. It's a big world out there. We're 4% of this planet, and what about the other 96%? And I realized I'm becoming a good traveler, but other people were making the same mistakes as me. And I thought if I could just package the lessons from those mistakes into a guidebook or a TV show or a lecture, other people could learn from my mistakes rather than their own and enjoy more travel thrills for every mile, minute, and dollar of their precious vacation. So that was kind of my mission when I was a student way back in the 70s, and that's exactly what I'm doing today.
You are not a journalist by education, but you've become one. Was that a difficult transition to make?
I wasn't trained or intending to be a journalist, but if I look back on 30 years of teaching travel, it's kind of like Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You remember Maslow's hierarchy of needs?
Yes.
First you get shoes and food and a roof over your head and some warmth. Then you can do stuff that's creative and rewarding and actualizing and self-actualizing, and even beyond that, selfless actualizing, like altruism, you know. So my first decade, 1980s, it was all Europe through the back door. I wrote this book, and this was how to travel. And every year my joy was spending 4 months in Europe, learning all the mistakes and packing it into here so people could learn from my mistakes rather than their own. Then in the 90s, I wrote a book called Europe 101, History and Art for Travelers. And my passion was not for teaching people how to catch the bus or stay healthy or pack light, but that's just an assumption. What do you do then? You appreciate the art, the history, the culture, the wine, Europe 101. And then in the last decade, ever since about 9/12, I find me sliding up that Maslow's hierarchy of travelers' needs to the top area, which is traveling in a way that broadens your perspective, so that when you come home, maybe you're a more thankful citizen of the United States of America, but you're also a better citizen of this planet. So that's, I think, if I'm a journalist, when I became a journalist, when I started realizing that as a travel writer, I'm like the medieval jester. You know, in the Middle Ages, the jester was given room and board by the king, and his job was to be annoying. He was the guy that could go out into the gutter and tell bad jokes with the people, the peasants, and learn what they're saying about the king. Come back into the castle and tell the king the truth straight. And only the jester could tell the king the truth, and the king appreciated it. He needed it. And I think especially since 9/11, travel writers can go out, and travelers can do this too, learn what's going on outside of the castle, and come home and tell the truth.
In the 90s, you began producing travel programs for PBS, free of charge to PBS.
Right.
Why did you want to provide those programs to PBS?
Well, I've been for 20 years now. For every 2 years, I've made a new series. It's like clockwork. Every 2 years, I release 13 new TV shows, and thankfully, they run all over the place. I'm so happy they run here in Oklahoma. And for 10 years, I've been doing a radio show, and it's also free, and it runs on public radio stations in 200 different cities. And I do that for free, and I guess, well, from a business point of view, I make enough money selling my guidebooks and selling my tours where I don't need to, charge for the show. It goes way back to my passion for teaching. When I was a student, At first I started charging for my lectures, and then I heard that people, of a couple of travelers, only one could afford to go to the lecture. So one would go and take notes and they would both travel. That's a shame. So I just thought, the class is free. If you buy my book, I'll make enough money. So my TV show is free, and if you're passionate about teaching something, you measure your profit on how many people enjoy the information you have. From the start, I've measured my profit not on the dollar bottom line, but on how many trips am I impacting in a positive way. And if I think about the impact of my little travel show on public television, that impacts a lot of trips. And for me, that's extremely profitable from a teacher's point of view who just wants to have the information he thinks is important consumed by a lot of people. I could charge for the show, but then stations like yours would not be able to run it a lot. You would run it sparingly. And most people have to charge for their shows. I'm lucky I don't have to charge for them. And you can run it all the time.
How long does it take you to produce a program?
Well, we have a crew of 3. Me, the cameraman, and the producer. That's a very small crew by television standards. But again, I like to be able to turn on a dime. We can all fit in a car. We can all carry our gear. And as we get older and more frail, the gear gets lighter and lighter. It's a beautiful thing.
Which is nice.
It's very nice. In the old days, it was literally twice as heavy, and we could do it. And now, we've been working together for a long time, and the camera is half the size, and we don't carry a suitcase full of cassettes anymore. It's all on a hard drive. This is very exciting. So there's a little tight crew that is very frisky, and it takes us 6 days to shoot a show in Europe. 6 days, and that is long hours. If the sun's out, we're working. They're 12 or 14-hour days, and I'd love to cut it down because I used to think I could learn and do other things and multitask when I was making a TV show, because I'm over there 4 months out of the year. And the TV, to be honest, is secondary. The first thing I do is research my guidebooks and research and organize for the tours that we lead and organize. So that's a built-in efficiency, because it's really expensive to go over there and scout. My scouting's done accidentally because I'm over there for weeks on end making the guidebook. And every time I'm researching for the guidebook, I think, that would be great for TV. So then we get together with the crew, I've got the script, and we just go at it for 6 days and we're done with the show. But just, a year ago I was in France at one of the great chateaus, Cheverny, I think it's called, and the dogs are barking. And the nobleman who owns the chateau, twice a week he goes hunting, and every day at 5 o'clock the dogs get their steak. And you hear them yelping and getting all excited. There must be 80 dogs in this pen. And then the tourists gather around, and at 5 o'clock they scatter all the steak, they open the gate, and the dogs just go for it. But it's very controlled. The steak's there, the gate's open, but the dogs don't go for it until the guy in charge says, eat, and then the dogs eat. These are well-trained hunting dogs. Well, I thought, good TV. I mean, you can imagine that would be good TV. So we come back just a couple months ago to that same chateau. I get to talk to the lord who owns the castle and how hunting is a part of the culture there. And then we go out, it's 5 o'clock, bam, the dogs eat, the camera rolls. We got a great little bit. But I wouldn't have known that had I not researched that with the guidebook research chores that I do, which is really the core of my work. So we spend 6 days making a TV show, take it home, and then there's a lot of work after that. But I'm out of the picture at that point. It's just my editor and producer.
How do you choose the places you focus on?
I choose the places I focus on by what I have to offer. It's if I don't have anything to say about a place, I don't want to go there. I'm not looking for work, you know. When I'm in Europe, I care about travelers understanding the historical and cultural context of something. You know, how are the Dutch dealing with their population density and their immigration problems, and why do they have so much great art? And if you have a bicycle and you're in Amsterdam and you get out into the countryside, how can you understand the polderland and the modern windmills and the old windmills? And this all swims together in a beautiful way. If I'm in Norway, I'm really interested in talking to people that willingly pay high taxes, because here in America, you know, it's freedom from taxes in a lot of ways. Well, in Norway, they like to pay their taxes, and they have high expectations out of their government, and that's different from my culture, and I like to sit down with people there and talk about that. On the other hand, in Greece or in Italy, I talk to people about la dolce far niente, the sweetness of doing nothing, and just the sacredness of a nice lunch or an extended dinner with friends, and the beauty of paying too much for a piece of cheese in order to know the lady who made it on her farm, who knows her sheep. That's a beautiful thing. That's slow food. You see, that's radical. In America, it's the big gulp society. In Europe, it's the slow food society. People like to pay too much for their bread in order to buy it from the person who baked it. In Europe, people don't have a freezer in the garage so they can only go shopping at the big box store every other week. They have intentionally a small refrigerator next to the sink, so they have to go shopping every morning. It's not efficient, it's family values. It's the fabric of their community. It's not right or wrong. I've got a big freezer that I like to fill up, but in Europe, I'm just fascinated by their quality of life.
The sights and sounds are fascinating, but you truly learn about a country and a culture from talking to the people.
It is people, Dick, that makes the show. If I'm making a tour, writing a guidebook, or making a TV show and I'm not connecting people with people, I'm one nervous producer. It's going to be flat. If I look at a TV show I don't think's very good, it's written by somebody who was sent there by some big shot who doesn't have any friends in that area, and they're just in the palm of the local tourist board. And all they're going to be doing is promoting the places that got a lot of investment last year and elevating silly cliches that really have nothing to do with the culture today. For me, I want to meet real people, and that's what distinguishes a trip. That's what carbonates your experience. And occasionally I have a TV show without enough local voices, and for me that's a big challenge. I don't like it. I want to have a local voice as well as my voice in every show.
Your travel has definitely shaped your worldview.
Yeah. I think it's really interesting, especially when you consider the complexity and the seriousness of the challenges that are facing our nation today. This is unprecedented, what's going on. And we are all, I give people the benefit of the doubt. I think we're all caring, good people. But the way we look at these challenges is shaped by our worldview. And everybody has a different worldview. You've got a different view than me because you've got a whole different life story. And Muhammad said, don't tell me how educated you are. He said, tell me how much you've traveled, you see. And I've been fortunate to travel a lot, and that impacts my worldview. And I think it impacts it in a positive way. And a lot of people aren't lucky enough to travel a lot, but they can have an appetite for learning that travelers have. One reason why I'm a soldier for public broadcasting is that public television is like travel. It brings the world into our homes. And you can go to the world or the world can come to you, but one way or another, we've got to get out there and understand the other 96% of humanity. That's not a burden, that's a celebration. I feel sorry for people that are so fearful that they don't want to know what's out there, that are so fearful that they convince themselves that this is the norm. We are not the norm. I was having lunch in Afghanistan a long time ago, and I had a very impactful chance meeting with a local guy. I was just backpacking through Afghanistan. He said, can I join you? And he sat down, and he had already joined me. And I said, well, you're welcome to stay. And he said, are you an American? I said, yeah. And he said, I'm a professor here in Afghanistan, and I want you to know that 1/3 of the people on this planet eat with spoons and forks like you. 1/3 of the people eat with chopsticks, and 1/3 of the people on this planet eat with their fingers like me, and we're all civilized just the same. He wasn't better or worse, he wasn't better, but he certainly wasn't worse, you see. And he acknowledged that, and he had a sense that I had a chip on my shoulder about him because he ate with his fingers. And when I think about it, I really did. I thought he was less civilized, less cultured. And I changed right there. That was a beautiful reminder for me. When I get home, I'm certainly more thankful that I'm an American, and I would not want to run my business anywhere else but in this country. But it really is fun to get out there and to just celebrate the diversity on the planet. And I think that's an important theme these days.
You did an hour-long program on Iran and have said that Iran is the most surprising and fascinating land you've visited. What made it so interesting to you?
What I wanted to do was humanize the country, understand how can these smart people vote for Ahmadinejad, who was the president at that time. And I wanted to understand them, and I thought it's appalling how little I know about Iran. What I knew about Iran I learned from Ted Koppel, which is pathetic. It was a media circus, the whole hostage crisis, and it served everybody's interests except the people. I thought, we need to know more about Iran. So I love to travel in places where I'm steep on the learning curve. And when I went to Iran, I was blown away by just simple little things that I would have never thought of. I always thought when they say death to America, they mean death to America. death to Israel, they mean death to Israel. But they don't. They're just saying, damn America. They're frustrated. As I talked to my group this morning here in Oklahoma City, I was in a traffic jam in Tehran, some incredible city of 12 million people, lots of traffic jams. It was silent. All of a sudden, my driver, we're stuck in traffic, and he just bursts out, death to traffic. I thought, death to traffic? I thought it was death to America or death to Israel. He said, no, right now it's death to traffic. And I said, well, what's with that? And he said, well, here in Iran, when something's frustrating us and it's out of our control, we say death to that. And I thought about it. He spoke in very broken English. He was struggling with English. He was very polite to try to communicate with me, but he spoke Farsi. He was translating what they say when they're frustrated, and what they're saying is, damn. Damn the traffic. How do you translate damn? Death. Now, have I ever thought, damn something? Well, sure I have. Damn those teenagers. Do I really want them to die and burn in hell for an eternity? No, it's just after midnight, turn down the music. Damn those teenagers. So in Iran, I don't want to excuse them because there's a lot of bad stuff going on, and it's a complicated thing. But if you're going to condemn an entire society and risk going to war because they say death to America, it fits on a bumper sticker nicely, but it might be nice to know all they're saying is, out of frustration, damn America. What is their cultural baggage? We have cultural baggage, 9/11 lately. That changes our whole outlook on the world because we have that baggage of losing 3,000 people 12 years ago. Iran has Iran-Iraq war baggage. They had 300,000 casualties fighting Saddam Hussein, Iraq. They had an 8-year war from 1980 to 1988. They had the carnage on their front that we haven't seen since France and Germany in World War I. Iraq invaded Iran under Saddam Hussein, who was funded by the United States of America. At least that's what Iranians believe. Terrible baggage there. That's their baggage. I had a woman come across the street to me in Iran and say, you're a journalist, right, from America? I want you to go home and tell the truth. We're united, we're strong, and we just don't want our little girls to be raised like Britney Spears. Neither do we. But they're scared to death that we will do a regime change, and suddenly they'll have another Shah on the throne, and again, they'll be bragging the miniskirts are shorter in Tehran than they are in Paris. These seem like silly little issues to us because we're so cosmopolitan. But when Iran looks at America, they think of a land that puts women dressed in skimpy little bathing suits on revolving pedestals to sell cars at a car show, which we do. And to them, that's insulting. To us, that's just good business, you see. So there's these kind of aha moments that you can get when you travel. And what I like to do is kind of afflict the comfortable, I like to go out there and bring it home and say, well, there's a lot of things you can learn about Iran, and we got to share that on public television.
So you did not find hate. You found fear of westernization, compromising values.
Exactly. I found a society in the countryside. That's the base of a guy like Ahmadinejad. It's the countryside, not the cosmopolitan big city where you got well-educated, Western-oriented people, but the countryside, filled with all these small towns, filled with less educated, less affluent fundamentalists, motivated by the same thing their counterparts are here in the United States. They're good people, good parents, motivated by fear and love. I didn't find any hatred at all. That's the amazing thing. I found confusion and fear. And fear to me, Dick, is a very troubling thing. I'm not particularly courageous, but I've traveled enough not to be afraid. I just don't like it when lately, since 9/11, everybody says, travel safe. I don't want to hear people say travel safe. Travel. We'll be more safe if we travel. The most dangerous thing, I believe, is if we stop traveling, because then their propaganda has an easier time confusing their people about us, and our propaganda has an easier time confusing their people about us, or us about their people. It's a very interesting. When we travel, we get strength because we have these people-to-people connections, and I guess that is journalism. And I got to give a plug for public broadcasting, because these kind of ideas would never see the light of day anywhere else, because they're complicated and they don't promote the needs of an advertiser. Here in public television, we can respect people's intelligence, we can assume an attention span, and we can bring home ideas that don't necessarily make advertisers comfortable.
Do you feel pressure to present a positive image of the places you visit?
I promote a lot of tourism, but I don't want to be a shill for the tourist industry, and it's kind of better not to say anything at all rather than say something negative. So some people say, why don't you go to Geneva? Or what's your problem with Geneva? I don't go there because I don't want to diss it. I don't like Geneva. I love Lucerne, and I love Zurich, and I love Bern, and I don't want to debate about Geneva, but if you've got less than 2 weeks in Switzerland, and I've never met anybody that had more than 2 weeks to travel around Switzerland, you don't need to go to Geneva. There's too many other places that you want to check out. So I prioritize, and I skip a lot of places because I've been a lot of places that don't make the cut, and I would rather promote the other places in a more positive sense. On the other hand, when I get into the grips of tourist boards with my crew or my work, they want me to promote certain things. It's really fascinating because whatever got the investment last year, the tourist board is under pressure to promote it from a tourism point of view. And I'm I've got a guard that goes up whenever they try to waylay me. No, I don't want to see that casino. I want to see your heroin maintenance clinic. You see, I was in Switzerland. They wanted to show me the new resort with the casino. And I said, no, for my show, I want to go to a heroin maintenance clinic because I understand you've got a lot of junkies, but they're not in jail and they're not dying. They're getting their lives back on track. And you've got a very progressive approach to hard drug addiction. What kind of a travel show is this? This is a travel show.
You are socially active, globally conscious, to be sure. What misconceptions do Americans have about foreign countries that you think need to be dispelled?
Americans are riddled with fear, I think. And it's probably because they think if somebody's different from us, they're not on our side. And it's fascinating to me to celebrate differences rather than be threatened by them. Basically, I think Americans, we're like kids at show and tell in third grade on Monday morning. We've got stuff we want to show, and we want everybody to do that way, And a lot of people just don't buy it. They've got their own religion. They've got their own tempo. Here in the United States, time is money. We bank it, we invest it, we waste it, we save it, we save time. In much of the world, time is not money. They got all the time in the world, and they don't bank it or save it or waste it or don't think of it like that. I think it's important for us to do a little less talking and a little more listening when we travel. I had to learn that myself. I remember in the old days, Americans would go around Europe and they'd pat people on the head and give them a Kennedy 50-cent piece. It was that kind of rich uncle kind of thing. Nowadays, we think we're at the top of the heap, but in most indices, is that the word? In most indices, we are not at the top of the heap. And in fact, in a lot of measures, we're falling farther and farther behind. And we have a tough time seeing that, just like we can blind ourselves to a lot of other realities because of media and political expedience and what our friends think or whatever. But I find that people outside of our borders are really good ways to learn more about our own country. It's really interesting. I find that I learn more about my own country sometimes leaving it, looking at it from a distance. I also can see if you take problems in our society and extrapolate them, you see it in high definition. If you can go to countries that have had the same problem and not dealt with it well, it's extrapolated, and then you can really go, oh, we don't want this. Let's go home and address that issue. And so, Americans, we can connect with the rest of the world and benefit hugely from it.
Where do you want to go that you haven't been?
I want to go to the South Pacific and just hang out.
That's not Europe.
I know it, yeah. My problem is if I have, let's say if somebody said, you got 10 days and I'll give you a spot on the beach in Hawaii and unlimited drinks and food and whatever you want, your own outrigger canoe. I would think if I got 10 days, I really need to get back to Portugal and check my book out because Lisbon's a little dated and so on. So I guess to answer your question, if I was on vacation, I would just go back to Europe and work more. I'm kind of an out of balance character that way. But let's assume I'm done working, I don't really care about that, and I just want to go somewhere and really be on vacation. Someday I'm going to go to the South Pacific and enjoy just feeling the breeze.
And if you could revisit one place and not have to work, what would it be?
Istanbul. When I'm in Istanbul, I can just walk down the street. I could be there for 4 days and each day walk a different direction and then take a taxi home. Take a taxi home, and I would be happy as could be. Istanbul is great because I kind of see cultures as tectonic plates. You know, if you're a geologist, you know that when two tectonic plates come together, you get earthquakes and friction and problems, buckles and mountains. When cultures come together, you have the same kind of thing. So the interesting cultures, I think, are where tectonic cultural plates come together. Asia hits Europe at Turkey. Africa, Islam hits Europe at the Rock of Gibraltar. You know, that's where there's interesting stuff going on. Istanbul.
You show us there's so much involved in travel. What should travelers do to maximize their experience? How should they prioritize what they do?
This is the whole crux of my teaching. How can you maximize the experience? Our latest newsletter is the best experiences. In the old days, it was just a checklist of famous, oh, there's the Leaning Tower, there's the Eiffel Tower, there's the Beefeaters, there's the gondola. Now you need to have experiences. I mean, my favorite experience in Rome last time was not going to the Colosseum, but it was taking a food tour of Testaccio. And they've got these food tours all over Europe now. And I was with a great guide with 10 people. It cost me $40. And we went to 12 different places over 3 or 4 hours. And it was a meal. It was a mobile feast visiting 12 different foodie little locations, learning about the culture through the kitchen. That was an experience, and I could talk on and on about experiences. That's the key. That's what distinguishes a good trip. If somebody wants to really travel, find a way to have experiences rather than checking off sites. For me, one of the luxuries is hiring a local guide. Every city all over the world has local guides where they're just hoping somebody will email them and set up an appointment so they can earn a couple $100 and take a foreigner around their town for 4 hours. That's a way to have. I'd have a picnic dinner if I had to in order to afford the local guide. I was just in Glasgow in Scotland. Wonderful, wonderful experience because I had a local guide who made it come to life.
Rick Steves, thank you for bringing us Europe and going on the record.
My pleasure. Thanks, Dick.